All right, so there's a slight lag on here, but we are live. All right, let's give people some time to kind of get in here, and we can start at that point. What's going on, A? How you doing?
What up, good brother? How's everything down there where you at?
It's across the country, but it feels nice. I mean,
Yeah.
it doesn't feel like winter just yet, so waiting on that one, I guess. So we got
Word.
we got 2-3 people. Let's just let it keep on coming in, and then we can kind of get down to business. I want to introduce myself. I'm Chris Cleveland, and welcome to Black Dollar Saturday. We have finally got to the third Saturday in 2021. So we finally made it. 2020 is out the window.
Mm.
Hopefully, that brings a smile and some joy to some people. I know it has for me. What you think, eh? 2020, what working for you?
We made it, man. It was a little different, a lot of different, but we here, man. Can't complain.
And that's how it's gonna go. So I want to welcome everyone to Black Dollar Saturday. This is the Black Business Initiative, and we're committed to providing the business community no cost and low cost training. As a part of these efforts, we partner with shout out to Brother Jeff's Cultural Center to host some monthly trainings, and just putting people in position to understand, what bringing business professionals on to kind of explain some things and where they see fit in certain business ventures and things of that nature. I also wanted to basically say thank you, Ant. Thank you for being on. I also want to plug basically our Black Capital that's coming up in April. It's going to be something huge for the Black Business Initiative. So make sure that you go follow CTN Media, where we'll have some things actually coming out to give you links to basically where you can go and find out some of the things that we have going for the rest of the year. Another big thing that's coming up as well for us at BBI is the Black Boss Summit. For those of you who missed out on last year's in September, you missed a good one. So don't miss that one coming up. I'm sure there's going to be some surprises. Jice doesn't mess around when she gets those speakers. So make sure you guys tune in. So kind of recapping and bringing it back to why we're here. Before I go into his bio and kind of what I think about this guy, I really, I just really want to, this is more off chart, but Ant has always been that big brother, that I've always kind of wanted, needed. That was always there to kind of guide me in a space where we all grow up in tough areas and tough places, but he saw something different in me when I first got introduced to him, and he kind of led me away from some of the things I was getting myself into, and basically told me, come on, Chris, you got a better mind, a better brain than that, and I just want to say I appreciate it from where I am now, but I feel like what you're going to talk about in this time is going to be super, super beneficial to some people who are trying to not only even develop an entrepreneurship or entrepreneurial mindset, but just understand what the constant hustle and grind and everything else is on that side of things. So basically going into your bio, and so our guest today is Anthony Williams, 37, and he's the owner of Jaws Barbershop in West Hartford, Connecticut.
Hey.
With over 10 years of valuable experience of working in high volume barbershops in the greater Hartford area. In 2011 was the birth of his single chair barbershop, Jaws. The acronym Just Another Way We Survive has become not only a way of life, culture, and a mantra for himself and others with his diverse array of clientele. Ant truly understands the importance of professionalism and customer service, finding the newfound love for living a healthy lifestyle. Ant and his family decided to open Health is Wealth Juice Bar that has become a staple in the Hartford and West Hartford community. Health is Wealth is managed and run by his oldest son, Silas, in order to teach him some responsibilities of being a business owner. Ant has been lucky enough that his entrepreneurial mindset has trickled down to his children, and they've seen him struggle to get to the place he is today.
Mm.
So, with that being said, I want to introduce for everyone who doesn't know. Obviously, I'm in Denver, but it's very important to kind of bring your culture and some of the inspiration that I've had on the East Coast and in Connecticut, and make sure we put it in front of the world. So, welcome, Ant.
Thank you, man. Happy to be here, brother.
So, I know we started it off prior to this, but in breaking down kind of what I said, how was 2020 for business, for you, for the family? Where do you, what do you see? Did 2020 do anything for you in a sense of life, business, and everything else?
Besides, gave me a greater appreciation for who I love and who really loves me. It was crazy for everybody overall. From people losing people due to sickness, businesses being shut down by mandatory, laws and regulations, and then just corralling people out of their day-to-day life. It was intense for a lot of people, man. If you made it through 2020 and you alive, you breathing, 10 toes, one heart, two eyes, you litty, bro. You made it.
I feel you. So going back to that, did you have to shut down? And if so, how long did you have to shut down for? And, did it make you have to think about business differently? Like, did you say, all right, yeah, one day I can't go into the shop, but what other things do I have to, like, what protocols did you have to go through in order to open the shop back up?
Well, I mean, I will say in the state of Connecticut, I like to say, first of all, we had to shut down from May, what was it? March 11th to May 13th. You know what I'm saying? It was a couple months. It was the first time in my life where I was told I couldn't work. So that was totally different for me. I'd never been through nothing like that where it's just like, yo, nah, y'all gotta close. So it automatically, threw me into a different gear that I was partially ready for, but just not moving towards. So, in response to your question, yes, we did have to shut down. And what it did for me is, like I said, it just put me on overdrive, man. I appreciated the time at home because it leveled me out on so many ways where, like I said, we weren't able to work by law. So it kept me home, which is a place I always want to be, obviously. But by mandatory guidelines, I had to be home. And I was just like, I was scared of enjoying being home every day. And ultimately, what that makes you think is like, yo, if I'm home, how do I make money enjoying my time at home, but still being able to produce income? So, we propelled the online business with the merch. We just stepped that up a little bit. I started a management company and did what I did at home with the family.
Going based off that, I mean, for people who don't know you, I know your story. What how did it start? Like, how did your love for being a barber start? Because I mean, I know that's not your only business, but I know that was the platform to you kind of venturing into different businesses.
Okay, so short story shorter is I've always had a business mindset, man, from young. I didn't associate it as a business mindset. What happened for me was I came from poverty, single parent, you know what I'm saying, 5 kids. Automatically we down. So my life was, anytime I had an opportunity, I'm gonna take advantage of it and make the best out of it. So I sort of searched for opportunities, and it started in 6th grade, walking home from school. I walked past a barbershop. At this time, I had never been to an official barber or whatever. My mom was tearing our hair up or whatever. So when a barber walked out of the shop and it was me and my buddies, he's like, yo, one of y'all go get me a green tea. And my boys automatically were like, man, who this dude think he talking to? Me, like I said, looking for opportunity in any situation. I said, if you give me the money, I'll go get the green tea. And by me reacting in that manner, the response from the barber was, well, shit, you just earned yourself a shape up. And it was just like grand prize for me because I'm like, yo, I never been into a barbershop. So that opened up that door where I was welcomed into a barbershop. I sat there from after school till about 8 o'clock waiting for this particular barber to cut my hair. And in that little 3 to 4 hours, I was just so taken because I was, young, and I just wanted to be a man amongst men. I was taking in all the energy. I never had a father. So just understanding that I was welcomed into that situation, it just opened up many doors for me, even till today.
Yeah. So I mean, I think that goes to say, just based off that interaction, like you took that situation and you ran with it, and a lot of people
Right.
wouldn't. And I think us being, from situations, single parent household or whatever the case may be, we
Right.
take more risks than a lot of other people do. And
Absolutely.
you putting yourself in that situation and taking that risk, not only a risk, but I mean, you just thought you were doing a favor for somebody who ended up opening a lifetime of knowledge and everything else for you.
Right.
You know what I mean? So what was your first experience like working at a barbershop, and at what time or at what moment did you look back and say, I don't want to work for nobody anymore? Like how did you expand that and take that to the next level?
So what ended up happening ultimately is, like I said, when I was given the opportunity to go in the shop and wait for my shape up, I was just taken by the environment. I enjoyed it. And from that day, when I got my free shape up, every day after school, I showed up. You know what I'm saying? It started with just like, did you need anything else? You want me to go to the store? I started to sweep. Then I started cleaning clippers. And then I was being helpful. And at that point, I created a job to where, I was earning $5 a week by just cleaning this dude's station and just being around. And it was like a unofficial mentorship. Like, he didn't know he was helping me, but I was helping him, so it worked out for me. But the Clippers was always a thing, man. My mom used to tear our joints up, so I was like, yo, if I could get a bad haircut by her at that point, I was like, I might as well just do it myself.
So
And
did
I've
you
always
did you start guinea pigging with people? Like was it
I mean,
was
I
it more
wasn't
like,
guinea pigging because once I got the good haircut, I already knew what Clippers was because I was taking myself down to one level instead of letting my mother give me the little bowl joint. So, from 6th to 10th grade, I was taking the information. And at 10th grade is when I started, like you just said, guinea pigging. My core friends was getting the raggedy ones, Larry, and these people. They still with me to this day, but those are the people that let me tear their joint up. Where it's like, damn, like, are you still my boy after all of that? So just taking advantage of that opportunity, man, and it just led me to where I am, man.
so just going based off the title of things, and going based off of why I saw fit that for you to be on here and speak your truth, was more of the struggles. Like, so if people are going through struggles out there in a sense of not understanding what that feeling is of saying, all right, I really want to do this, but I'm a little scared. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to go that next level. Can you talk more to the transition into your own shop, and how did you, because I remember the phone calls, you know what I mean? Like, I remember you hitting me up
You
and
was
saying,
there.
this is what I want to do, but I'm not sure if it's the right thing to do. What made you ultimately just say, was it listening to other people's opinions, or was it just really having that confidence in yourself to move forward?
I mean, so fast forward from being a volunteer and helping, like I said, 10th grade, I was messing my friends up. That 10th grade to 11th grade year summer, I was working in that same shop. So I had acquired enough skill to at least be there and give out, what I'm saying, fake, haircuts. But that opportunity led me to working in that same shop the same shop. And then that owner had another shop in Hartford, which and
Mhm.
after going through my young people stuff, which I say my young fella stuff, where the dibbling dabbling with streets and this, that, and the third.
Well, that's what we want to talk more to as well, because that's the transition that people are getting themselves out of. So that's a
Right, right,
part of
right.
that struggle. So you don't have to hide that part. Like, that's
No,
what.
there's no hiding it, man. I mean,
Absolutely.
I won't glorify it because I don't think nobody really needs to go that route. And then even right now in this day and time, man, that's a topic that's played out, man. If that's your easy way out, that's not it, because it's not easy. That's what anybody who was outside in these streets come to figure out, that that's not easy. It may seem easier because you see a lot of people doing it, but what's really easy is just following your passion and doing what your calling is, man. Once you figure out what your purpose is in life, man, and you move towards it, whatever it is, it takes sometimes a lifetime to figure it out. Sometimes, like for me, I just harped on what I really like. And I remember things that like people said to me, like my uncle was a mentor to me, not even knowing. Again, he always told me, man, if you do what you love, you never work a day in your life. It took me almost 20 years to really figure that situation out and understand, like, damn, I really love this. And when I wake up every day, it don't feel like I'm going to work. You know what I'm saying? So me working in a shop with multiple barbers, it basically made a pile of a bunch of things I didn't like. So what I did with that pile was like, yo, I always told myself, if I had my own shop, this wouldn't happen. If I had my own shop, that wouldn't happen. And then I was again given the opportunity to where I was working in one shop. There was a vacant spot in the middle, and there was another barber shop. Right. We used to always go to the corner store to spend money with the corner store. My business mind said, let's just put our money together, create a corner store. You know what I'm saying? And our clients and everything would spend the money with us. So four of us, this where my name started, Jaws. It was the first letter of everybody's name that I was going to go into business with. I did all the business paperwork. I did everything right. Everybody backed out. They were scared to move forward with a legit business. So it left me by myself. So ultimately what I did, instead of doing a corner store, I moved out of the shop that I was in and opened up my own directly next door. So like I became competition. And my business mind didn't know like that I was competition. I just say I'm moving next door by myself. And that really just raised a red flag for everybody else, because it was like almost intimidating. Like, who does this dude think he is where he could just go next door by himself? But my mind was like, I have a bread aisle theory where like if you go to the grocery store, right, in the bread aisle, what's in the bread aisle?
All different types of bread.
Right. The only thing that makes the difference in bread is packaging, product placement, where it is and what you like. So at that point, I had my clients and I moved directly next door, and probably the best move I ever made in my life, man, for real. You know what I'm saying?
No, absolutely. And like I said, the thing is that I was there. So it's I saw the transformation. To
Right.
explain that to other people, like the amount of, I wouldn't even say like courage, but it took a lot. And I know it took a lot because I understood what type of money you were making in a big money shop is what they
Right.
call it. You know what I mean? And I think they have these all across the world. So if there's a barber on here, or just a young person in general, or a business person in general, someone who, if they understand, like, and they're a part of a team, to go out on your own, what did it take for you? Was it just the courage just to move forward and
Ultimately, man, this situation specifically, I was just tired of being around people that didn't respect, because I had worked in other shops. I seen so many different variations of barbershops, from a Spanish barbershop to a black barbershop to a barbershop where everybody hustled to a barbershop where things was ran down to a T. So at this point, man, like I said, I had one foot in the streets and one foot where it's like I want to follow my passion. And at that time, me being naive, I thought being outside, which I'm going to use instead of saying being in the streets or whatever, being outside was more conducive to my life. And it took a wise man told me, man, I won't say his name because he didn't know he was that wise, but he hit me with some information by mistake. He told me one day, he said, why you sell drugs, man? He said, when you sell drugs, you got to re-up. I said, yeah, and so what? He said, why you don't just cut here? You're the drug. You will never have to re-up. And that thing hit me so hard, man. I said, damn. So once he said that to me, man, my brain transitioned, because I wasn't thinking like, oh, I'm gonna be this business person. Nah, I was just really thought like I will never have to re-up. Like I'm the drug. And I really ran with that, bro. And it's like what ended up happening, that transitioned my train of thought in so many ways. So for any barber or any business person that's on here, man, bet on yourself. Take advantage of opportunities. And even at a time, I say bet on yourself freely now, right? 7-8 years ago, man, when I got an opportunity to move out the hood in the middle of two barber shops where people was getting shot and robbed, like, once or twice a month, I had to make a decision to move to a suburban town. You know what I'm saying? Out of the hood where I was comfortable, where I've been my whole life, basically, and move to the burbs. And that was like my first real business decision.
I remember it.
I was like, damn, like, now it's not no more. Like, it's for real. And I'm gonna be quite frank, it was because I wasn't around people that look like me now. Now I'm around white people. I'm around real businesses. You know what I'm saying? Like I had to do everything correct. So that was scary for me. But I
So
talked to a
that
good. Go ahead.
and that, so that's a good transition right there. What did it take for you to not only move out of the hood, but move out of this comfortable position where now
Right.
you know where everyone knew you, the foot traffic was great because I remember the conversation that we had and it was in an empty Jaws barbershop where you are
Right.
now,
Right.
no paint on the walls,
Nothing.
and you know it was I signed the papers this morning. Should I go with it? Should I go
Right.
through with it? What was, because I remember the conversation, but it was just, you know, like ultimately I remember you telling me, look, man, I just had a dream. Like, you know what I mean? Like I
Right.
had a dream and I woke up and I made it happen. So
Yeah.
what else did you need, you know, on
So
top of that?
I'm gonna give you real time. This is what happened. I was in that shop and you explained it as being comfortable. It wasn't comfortable. What it is content because I had been there so long. So I was just content with doing the same thing over and over. And at that time, I always said I lived the same day over and over. But what ended up happening was, and I don't want to put your stuff out there, it was a situation where you went to your car on a Tuesday to go get a domino or a coupon for a pizza spot and you get robbed at gunpoint by two guns and came inside like regular, like, yo, niggas just robbed me, man. I was like, what? That was like the first one. Boom. And then it's like at that time I took my daughter out of daycare because she was there with me and I was trying to save money. With me and my wife was in the process of trying to get this house. So we was just like, let's just save money on daycare, have the baby with you. And at that time it was a Thursday. Another business owner had went to the shops directly next door and he got shot and he got robbed and shot like right outside the shop. So the news were like, man shot on blah 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 avenue leaving a barbershop. And it was like three barbershops. So my initial thought was like, yo, that was mad vague. Like they should have said
They didn't
which
even say which one.
barbershop.
No,
Yeah, because it
absolutely.
was crazy. Because then all my clients was like, yo, y'all all right? Long story short, that was like the turning point. So I started looking for different spots from that Thursday. When I came into the spot that I'm in now, I seen the setup and it was very similar to where I was at. So like I said, that's when I harped on I had the dream. And then I brought you to the spot and I'm like, yo, you think I could do this? You ain't even know where we was going. And I walked you in and you was like, hell yeah. And you said it so confidently. And I'm like, this dude saying hell yeah, like he about to pay these bills, like it's easy. He's like, nah, bro, I know you could do it. And I didn't have, it wasn't that I lacked confidence. I just never did it before. So I was very unsure. You know what I'm saying? So ultimately I had to make an executive decision and I banked it on a barber battle. I remember I told my wife, we had a barber battle, and I said, if I win this barber battle, it was a good money grand prize. I said, I'm gonna use that money. You know what I'm saying? It was like $5,000 and I won the barber battle. Bust my ass, really was practicing. I wanted to win it. I won it. And I was like, yo, if I get this money, it's basically like a free move for me.
Mm-hmm.
So I won the barber battle, gave him the deposit, and here we go, bro.
And the rest is history.
The rest is history. But it was very, very conducive to my future that I had people like you in my corner that was like, seen it. I seen it, I visualized it, but I wasn't confident jumping off the edge like that. So the reassurance from you, my wife, close friends, it really helped out.
So, I mean, like I said, I've been there. Let's talk more in a sense about opportunities because I hear you continuously say opportunity.
Yeah,
And I feel like some people who are in tough situations and tough spots don't really have too many opportunities. Do you feel like you created those opportunities for yourself, or you created the work ethic after those opportunities were given to you that actually made more opportunities come? And
so
talk more to, obviously what the one chair barbershop really meant for you, because that's not the ideal barbershop style. You know what I mean? The ideal barbershop style is you walk in, you can choose which barber if you're there for the first time. Like if anybody has been to Jaws barbershop, it's one barber. It's
right,
literally in there by himself. So you have to make sure you have your appointment set or you'll be
right,
sitting there for hours, literally watching this man do his art. And I call it art because not everyone takes a passion for it, but you have a passion for it and you understand that nobody's going to be walking out of that barbershop, with a bad haircut. So yeah, just more towards the point of like, opportunity.
So with the single chair shop, I just wanted to get away from everybody, isolate my clientele, because I knew at some point I had to get off that block that I was on. So
Mhm.
my whole point in moving by myself with the single chair theory, which everybody told me wouldn't work. I was in the middle of other barbershops. You by yourself. How you gonna pay your bills? I heard that. You know what I'm saying? But for me, since I wasn't leaving the block, I'm like, dude, it didn't matter to me. At that point, going next door was nothing. So, you know what I'm saying? The single chair theory was just me wanting to be by myself in isolation and isolating my clients. In
Mhm.
hindsight, I look back and I'm like, yo, I really was ahead of the game. Because if you
Mhm.
look right now, moving to 2021, the
Mhm.
new concept is you can't have multiple barbers in one shop with clients due to COVID. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So even the main barber in our state of Connecticut, Jay Major, shout out Jay. He do all the barber battles. He has a big platform. He has multiple shops. He has a school, right? We talked before.
Shout out to Jay Majors.
Right. And he always say, yo, like, damn, one chair, you doing it all by yourself. You pay all your bills. And he bigged it up. But in 2021, like 2 weeks ago, he just opened up his new shop, right? And the theory and the concept behind his shop is all barbers get their own suite. So instead of a station, he's giving them a little, room, which is the single chair theory. So I think the future of barbering is going to be this concept. I
Mhm.
didn't patent it. I wish I was on business back then because I would have made it mine and would have been boogieing right now. But that's the way to do it with the single chair shop theory. But as far as opportunity, right? I believe the definition of opportunity is a set of circumstances coming together to make something happen. I'm not sure, you could double check it. I believe that's what it is, but opportunity is everywhere. It's not that you create it, it's whether or not you see the opportunity. I bring it back to where the dude asked me to go get the green tea. My peers didn't see that as an opportunity. They was like, man, who this dude think he is?
Mhm.
My thing was, I did a quick analysis. I don't got the money. If he give me the money, I'll go get it. But when
Mhm.
he gave me the money, I locked him in because now he think I'm gonna go get it. And my response was, so now what do I get? And
Mhm.
his response was, you just earned yourself a shape up. So me getting his money and then asking what do I get in return created an opportunity. So that
Mhm.
was just my set of circumstances, making it so something could happen, and it opened up a door. So I wouldn't go, I'm opportunistic, no, but I try to find an opportunity in every situation, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent.
Mhm. Well, I mean, even based off that, we have stories and we can talk all day based on just that situation. But
Mhm.
even moving forward, um, 2020 was, it was rough for everyone. It was rough for all types of businesses, all types of industries. But I was also talking to someone the other day and basically saying, if you came or come from places that I come from, like it's regular.
This shit.
You know what I mean? Like it happens all the time. So this is, for what people think is a pandemic. Don't get me wrong. People are dying. It is
Right.
real, bro. It is super real.
Absolutely.
Mask up wherever and whenever you can. You know what I mean? And keep the older people in your family safe. But
Mhm.
it's one of those things that I tell people, as far as like stopping my paper, as far as like stopping my grind. I don't think that it has, because I mean, I'm constantly going to hustle. I'm constantly going to make a way for myself. And I think that we think like that. You know what I mean? Like just the way we were raised and brought up, we think just like that.
So, so for me,
Insane.
right?
Yeah.
For me, right? People, I say this often since the pandemic, right? First, I say, unfortunately, people have lost their lives. This has been tragic for a lot of people. I take nothing from that. But what I will say is, man, this has, like you said, we had that odds stacked against us since the beginning, ultimately. So I have, since I was raised that way, I've always, well, I haven't always, I won't even go that far. As of the last 13 years of my life, I've been planning for my future as far as the evolution of myself. So I prepared. So when people's businesses was going under because they living on a month to month basis, that means that you wasn't prepared, because 90 days they made it so we can't work, right? So you telling me 90 days of no money coming in, your life shuts down, and you have children and you have bills. You signed a 30-year mortgage, right? And
Mhm.
you've been paying your mortgage, but now you can't work, so your house is gone. That means you're not prepared. I mean,
Exactly.
you missed something, or you not working hard enough to fill the void.
Exactly.
So fortunately, I prepared properly. So with all humbleness, I could say the pandemic really didn't change much for me, except for it grew a way greater appreciation and value for family, my children, the little moments. You know what I'm saying? The little I love yous from the babies, or the out of nowhere phone calls from the kids, and the dinners where we all just sitting there laughing, the Uno games. That's what I'm like, yo, this is what life is. But like
Absolutely.
money, bills, and hardship, that shit gonna be here forever. It's not
Hmm.
gonna go away, bro. That's not 2020. That 2020 was a decent year. That's why I tell people it was different. It
Hmm.
was not like, oh my God.
Self-reflection. I've been telling people this, for the last couple months. 2020 for me was a year of self-reflection. It was a year for me to look in the mirror and say, don't put all these eggs in one basket, Chris. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like, now you have to have eggs in different places. As far as jars and as far as that business, I also want to move into your other space, and other businesses that you've been kind of putting together, and also, throw in this mentality to your kids as well, because I think that's most important to share with people as well. Like, how do we get this information that we have as, hustlers, grinders, now to being entrepreneurs and businessmen? How do we give this to our kids, or what do we leave to our kids? Because I think, just us as a black community, I think what we don't do well is we don't share information. And that's really what the Black Business Initiative is about. We want to share information. You know what I mean? We have to put this information out, because we're the only people who are going to educate each other.
right.
So based off that, I know you have other businesses. I know you've moved your entrepreneurial mindset into, as I mentioned in your bio, like Health is Wealth Juice Bar. Like, where
Mhm.
did you even get that concept and idea, and basically why to give it to Silas?
I didn't give it to Silas, but the juice bar, the juice bar, and he got to work for his. I'm gonna run
Exactly.
it down real quick. So the juice bar theory happened like this, man. I've been here in this location for 7 years. I spend about $20 a day on food. I said, damn, I did simple math. I work about 25 days a month. I said, damn, that's about $500. You know what I'm saying? I'm spending on food. I was
Hmm.
tired of being fat. I'm still kind of fat, but I was tired of being fat. I don't have time to work out. I can't play ball because I can't afford injury. So I told my wife, and we was talking, I was like, I want to open up a juice bar. And, she supports what I do, but she was just like, it was talking at the time. All right. Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, yeah. So I did the simple math. I was like, shit, if I just stop eating lunch every day, that's an extra $500 I could put towards something. And in worst case,
Hmm.
I'll put more money with it. Ended up finding a location through other opportunities. I bought two barber chairs off this dude. Ended up having a good conversation with him, seeing an opportunity where, he had vacant spaces. He walked me through some spaces. I ended up getting the space. Unfortunately, I'm not gonna say it because he was of opposite race. He had been in business. He owns multiple properties, an
Hmm.
attorney. These dudes is on it. He seen me for face value and was like, let me run this dude through the ropes.
Got you.
So that's what he did. He ran me through the ropes for a year. Thought I was gonna run out of money and time and just quit. Stuck with it, you know what I'm saying? And to his dissatisfaction, I stuck with it. And, as of right now, 3 years in, we have a juice bar in West Hartford, a town where it's predominantly, filled with Jewish people, and it's not too many black businesses. There are some, but
Hmm.
to have another black business 100 yards away
And
from,
that's two for you, right? So that's two businesses
yeah,
in
within
an
200
area.
yards in the town, right? So it's not.
Exactly.
It was a dope situation, but my whole thing with it wasn't like, let me just make extra money. My son is about to be 18 in March. My daughter's about to be 16 in March. I've been through what I've been through. I said, I don't want my kids filling out no applications for CVS and Burger King. And not saying there's nothing wrong with that. I worked at Burger King. I don't work at Chuck E. Cheese. I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with that. But if I could do better, I'm going to. So what I did was I created a job so my son could work and manage and gain experience without having to go into the world and be stressed out. And my daughter as well. So with him being the oldest, he had to take the frontline lead. Like, we all trained together, we went into it together, and as of right now, he's got 2 years work experience under his belt. One as an employee, one as a manager. He turns 18 in March. he's now going to be my first franchisee. And at that point, my 16-year-old daughter, she goes from employee to transition to manager. And then my youngest son, Cal, is up next, and so on and so forth.
So that's your path to generational wealth. That's your path to generational knowledge as well. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like basically showing your kids what that work ethic is early has gotten you obviously to a point where you know where your work ethic has gotten you and where our work ethic has gotten us. Now you're trying to implement that into your children by saying,
Right,
hey,
and we not doing it like, you know, like we always say, like the Chinese restaurant, and then you know, the 7-Eleven, when you see like the Indian family and their kids, and they bring their kids through the system. Like, we're paying our kids, like we setting high expectations. And I tell my kid, treat me like if I'm your white manager. Don't treat me like I'm your dad. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm a treat you like an employee. You are not my son when you're working. So when I come down to you, I don't have empathy as, oh, this is my son. No, I will treat you just like if you're not doing your job, you are expendable. I think my son got fired this year. You know what I'm saying? He got hired. He got a job back. I think he got
his job back, bro.
You did, right? Yeah, he got fired once. He's back though. You know what I'm saying? The pay rate changes. You start at an entry level again, but he'll be a franchisee next year. You know what I'm saying? But they gotta get it how we live. It ain't no joke, man. This is a real business. Real clients come in. We get real reviews. We got to pay real taxes. Just because it's my son is not sweet, is what I'm saying.
No, absolutely.
But, you know, the health is wealth has been a blessing to our family because one is on a healthy path. Two, everybody's involved. It's even to the point where it's like my daughter was an infant at the time of opening, but like, you know, she's drinking through a straw natural juices at 6 months. Like right now, busy. My daughter is about to be 2. She hits you with, you know, juice bars. She knows Jaws. Like, she knows our businesses, and it's like I'm baffled when I wake up. She's like, "Daddy, go to Jaws." Like,
exactly.
Crazy. Or like not even 2. It's like, this is wild, but that's the life, man.
No, absolutely. And somebody just commented, "You hustle for your last name, not your first," and it's actually real life because I want to go back to Jaws being the acronym of just another way we survive, but you even switched it up again, you know, just another Williams situation, and that's your last name, and that's, you know, that's who you ride for. And in knowing that, you know, and starting in your businesses and everything else, like I said, I commend you. You know, you've always been that top-notch father, and I'll tell you that all the time. Every Father's Day, you can tell these people, I send you at least 2 or 3 paragraphs.
Absolutely, man. I always, you know, our relationship has always been concrete, and with just a backer, he doing a lot of talking for me and all of this other good stuff. But I'm gonna give you a little history on Cleve. Cleve was a haircut client. You know what I'm saying? My people's young came in, had all the potential in the world, but I seen where he could go right or left, and I seen it. And when I heard his story, I just, at that point, I always told myself, when I got the help I needed or the guidance I needed, whether it was directly or indirectly, I told myself, I want to be who I needed when I was younger. And when I gave you that little first piece of advice and showed up to your football game and you seen that I was really there, we never, it was always like this. It never went a different way. We done, you know, we agree to disagree, but we never beef. We never fought. You know what I'm saying? You told me when I was wrong. I told you when you was wrong. It's never been nothing funny. But even with your move to Colorado when you were scared, I'm the one who told you, man, if you don't get the fuck out of here, man. Absolutely. And look at you. I'm on your stuff. You know what I'm saying? I'm still here. I'm doing good for myself, but you needed to spread your wings, man. This city is not built for people like us, man. Like, we have to give the information and go. If you stay here, it's redundancy, man.
Absolutely. And just to go back, you know, on that, you know, we're different, you know what I'm saying? And I think, you know, I think that was the very important reason as to why to get you in front of people. And I'll be completely honest. Like, although, like I said, you know, people may know your story, may not know your story, but I really, you know, want people to understand the value of somebody like you who can get on something like this and really deter some people from going the opposite ways. And I'm not talking about even the streets at this point. Yeah. It's really business. You know what I mean? Like, do you have any any you know, business stories as to why, like, you know, where you could have gone left or how you made a better decision based off of, you know, understanding where you came from and the struggles and everything else, like a business story in that sense?
Absolutely, man. I mean, it's a bunch of business stories, but one that always sticks out, like even with with the health as well. Like I said, the spot that I got with the juice bar was a vacant subspace of a bigger space. So basically, he had a big space. He cut me a slither. We agreed on a price. I showed multiple friends, and they were just like, "What is you about to do with this?" But when I closed my eyes, bro, I seen it.
Mm-hmm.
I did. I knew how I could get it, but I seen it, and it was just no deterring me from what I seen. And at that point, I could have quit. And that's the business. That's the business advice in any situation I would give. There's always a part in the road where it's like, man, fuck this, man. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Or like, man, fuck this. I'm gonna get this done. It's two fuck this. Is man, fuck this. I'm out. And man, fuck this. I'm about to do this. And mine's is always number two. I'm not for quitting. I know when to hold them and when to fold them, but for the most part, man, if I could see it, if I could close my eyes and I could visualize and my plan is set. Every time I do something, I write it down. Tech and all of that is cool. I physically write everything down, bro. Like,
So is that some type of advice that you would give to people? Is basically put your ideas down on paper, or have you been giving it to your
man,
kids as well?
anybody, man, sticky note, a notebook paper, every from buying my house when me and my wife was looking at our houses, the last three houses that we figured out, I wrote down essentially everything that needed to be done and had to be done in a certain time frame for it to meet our criteria. The
Mm-hmm.
house we picked, well, my wife picked is her house. It was like I wrote everything down and everything is done. Like it
Mm-hmm.
was done within 700 days of us having a house, like
So
all of it. So it's like
I
writing
know
it down is essential.
absolutely, and I know you're a huge goal setter. What
Right.
what else would you tell people who are basically in the beginning stages of their business, and then COVID hit, and then now it's like, do I keep it up? Like you said, you know how to hold it or fold it, but it's like,
Right.
what advice would you give to people who started their business during this pandemic and have no idea if they should keep going? Like, what goals would you tell them to set that are realistic? Because I think that's what we do too much as like a Black community. We set these high goals based off social media and everything
Right.
else, and then when we don't hit them,
Mm-hmm.
now we're mad at ourselves and we're disappointed and we fall into these deep dives of depression. What can you say to that?
So one first thing, anytime you write down your goals, right? After you write down your three obtainable goals, you should always at the end write and then or like what's next, because you could hit the goal and then what? So
Mm-hmm.
you always have to follow it up with like after I get this and then this. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? And when you write out your goals, make up obtainable goals. Don't say, "Oh, I'm about to make $1 million this year." Not saying that's not unobtainable. It can happen, but make a realistic goal. I want to put $50 a day in this jar until I get whatever, or
Mm-hmm.
$10 a day. However, whatever's obtainable for you, and no goal is too small. Live within your means, within your lifestyle, man. Don't do, what I'm saying? This man built his house from the ground up. That's not, I can't do, I'm not doing that right now. That's
Mm-hmm.
not what I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I'm going to do what I could do and do it well. And for people who are starting businesses right now through the pandemic, this is a gold rush for you guys. Like you're looking at it, oh, it's a pandemic. No, this is a direct to consumer business. Anybody you're dealing with, you gather their email, you gather their phone number, you set out little, hey, how you doing, text or whatever, and you deal with these people on a personal level. The people who are suffering are businesses where they can't control their clients. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying? A restaurant, if you only could do takeout and you don't have a direct to consumer relationship, how are people going to come get this takeout from you when you know what I'm saying? They just assuming
Absolutely.
that everything's closed. Like, no, we do takeout. But if I had a client list of 1,000 people and I emailed them and I said, listen, man, any takeout order, you're going to get at half price.
Mm-hmm.
It's half the money, but it's more than nothing. It's halfway more than nothing. You
Absolutely.
know what I'm saying? So
Absolutely.
people just got to keep the direct to consumer. And if any business, man, whether it's existing or starting, man, hit the ground running. Just
Absolutely.
start it. That's it. Just do it.
Absolutely. I mean, with like 15, going on 15 minutes left, I want to give people the opportunity. Please share, hit that like button, subscribe to BBI, and CTM Media. We got a bunch of stuff going on this year, guys. I mean, our next plan is to probably try to get in out here. You know what I mean?
Hey, flew me out, Chris. Flew me out.
Try to get some more, people from the East Coast because, I'll be honest with you, when I got out here to Denver, it was rough. Not knowing anyone, I think was the hardest thing. But the Black business community here, welcomed me and accepted me. But at the same time, they needed me to prove myself. You know what I mean? And I think in any situation, you have to prove yourself. What do you think people should do to prove themselves in that business aspect or in that business mindset? Because I know one of the first things you did, and you didn't know it at the time, but one of the first things you did is you reached out to somebody at the School of Deaf.
Mm-hmm.
I remember this specifically because someone was in your chair and I was in the barbershop and you said, "Hey, how do I go in there? And let's talk more about your volunteerism and what you do as a volunteer that not only gives you the recognition, but at the same time, it has brought different, like I'm talking about an assortment of clientele into Jaws that
Right.
You walk in there are people from different backgrounds, ethnicities, walks of life. How did you see that as a tool? Because I think that's another thing that people aren't really using in the business mindset right now is
Right.
take advantage of your contacts.
I mean, the context, like I said, your network is your net worth. Who you know is better than sometimes what you know. Because you could know nothing, but if you have somebody in position, and you remain teachable, you could win. But for me, man, I'm a human first. You know what I'm saying? I'm Hispanic and I'm Black. So I've always, and I went to the ghetto schools in the north end of Hartford, Barnard Brown, to suburban schools in Manchester. So it was always a melting pot for me. I'm light skinned, you know what I'm saying? So I was able to mesh and deal with everybody. But what I figured out my passion was like, one, I hated bullying, and two, my passion was like special needs. So I'm always for the underdog. And when I got the opportunity and I seen that my niche was really I love cutting hair, but my niche is contacting and dealing with the special needs because there is a connection there. And like you said, with the American School of the Deaf, what I did was I offered, at first I offered free services because I just wanted to gain their trust. So like you said, prove yourself. You don't always have to prove yourself. What you have to do is prove your commitment. So what I told them is like, listen, just bring them down. You know what I'm saying? I got them. I displayed my work. I showed them. They seen how I shut the shop down for them. I got video game, books, this, that, and the third. And at that point, it opened up the door because there was like, this guy really cares about our community.
Mm-hmm.
I took it even a step further. My family, my infant child, my daughters and my wife, they know sign language. Like I'm still learning it. I know the basics, but ultimately, like we committed to that. Like we have a drink at our juice bar called the ASD. Like that's a real community that isn't tapped in on. Like right now, we should have somebody signing what we're saying so that community could be in tune. Because that ASD is like that's a real community that's not tapped into, man. So I decided to tap into it, and it played out very well. I got a contract with them, and it's a whole demographic of people that I never would have been able to deal with if I didn't do that.
Well, I mean, I commend you for that, bro. And I think that's a conversation that we've had because I see your work with, not only, the American School for the Deaf, but just with, kids with special needs that come into the shop. Right. How did you make, and I'll keep this question, short, and you can keep the answer short as well. But, people have a struggle with making their businesses inclusive. And I think you did it so genuinely, with the barbershop. How did you make it so inclusive? Because it was the first time that I've gone into a shop and the sitting lounge is super comfortable. You know what I mean? The TVs, everything else. Like, was that how you saw everything coming together? Like being super inclusive?
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I've always, man, I'm human first, man. I love my people overall, as we all do, right? And that's how it go. Naturally, we're going to care about our tribe and our crew, first, but I've always been human, man. I've never been biased. I've from gay, straight, special needs, Black, white, Chinese. I'm human first, man. I'll talk to anybody. You know that. We go places, I walk, I'd be like, yo, who is this dude talking to? I
Mhm.
grab conversation from everybody. We human, man. Like one, even like Black Dollar and Black Business, and that's a dope movement because we need each other. Each one teach one always, but do not be scared to open your doors or your heart or your mind to everyone, man. You never know what a relationship or a conversation will yield, man. You can meet
Absolutely.
somebody in a grocery store that you open the door for and you're just being genuinely kind, right? And
Mhm.
then a year later, that's the CEO of a company's wife, and then they're like, "Oh, that's the gentleman that was da 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 that I told you about." And it's like,
Mhm.
just be nice to people, man. And
That's
when
it.
it comes back tenfold.
Absolutely. So seeing that we're coming down to some time, I mean, I really, really, really want to plug some things for BBI because we got a bunch of stuff, like dope stuff coming up. In April, we have our Black Capital Summit going on. It's an event. It's basically for Black businesses, trying to teach the financial aspects. I think a lot of the times, just us in the Black community, what we don't have are those financial networks, or
Mhm.
learning how to keep your books, learning how to go and get a loan, learning those business, those relationships that you have to have with your, with those banks. I mean, that's
Right.
huge. And a lot of this stuff is going to be explained at this Black Capital, event. And listen, you all you have to do is go to CTM Media or go to bbi.com, and you can find some of that stuff there. Another event that we have going on is the Black Boss Summit. If you didn't or you don't know anything about it, please go and research the Black Summit. I mean, the Black Ball Summit has been something that is been a dream of BBI, and when it was finally put together, they had some success last year, or we had some success last year, and we're trying to work towards that again, bringing
Mhm.
in new speakers and just trying to uplift, the Black community, the Black business community, because we're the only people who are going to kind of put ourselves forward. I want to open up. Go ahead.
Oh,
You got
I was
something?
gonna say, I don't for everybody a quick exercise that helps me, and I don't before we leave, I'm gonna try to keep it short. But what I would encourage everyone to do, right, is for success. This is what you do. I want you guys to envision that you are going to basically interview the next tomorrow, right? With whoever it is, whether it's the CEO of a company you want to work for, the ambassador of a brand, a bank, or whatever. Envision this interview that you're about to go on with this person, right? As the game changer for you. But the person that you are interviewing with, right, is you at the highest level of success that you could picture yourself. And what you do is with this, you envision, what is this person wearing? What is their stature? What is their energy? How does this person talk? What kind of car is he driving? Where does he work? And then you envision this and role play within your head that you're interviewing with this person, which is your future you. And it should give you a good vision or perspective of where you want to be. And I've done that multiple times, and I do it still to this day. And that person changes, and that's a good thing because it's never the same. But you have to put it in your head, and when it's there, you'll get there.
Absolutely, man. And I want to open it up to questions. I don't see many questions on the side, but I really do want to open it up to questions, because at the end of the day, regardless if you have access to Ant, or regardless if you walk into the barbershop and you feel as though you can ask him any question you want, I actually want some of these questions to be brought up during this, during this not even a podcast at this point.
Well,
You know
dog
what
podcast coming soon,
I
man. You heard it
mean?
here first. You got the little background. This has promoted me and propelled me to say, I got a lot of information, a lot of experience. So we are starting a podcast, man. Thank you.
That's what's up. That's what's up. And I, like I said, I told you, with the amount of knowledge that you have, with the amount of things that you've been through, you know, you have to get in front of people and speak, man. A lot of the times I feel like we feel uncomfortable and we don't think that it's gonna go well, but I've learned to just throw that out the window. Like, it doesn't matter how many views, it doesn't matter, because this is, it's initially going to be something where, yeah, it's going to be recorded and people can
Yeah.
go back, but don't be afraid. You can't be afraid to jump on the same way you're not afraid in business has to be the same way that you're not afraid to get in front of a camera and say, hey, this is what I'm doing and this is how I'm doing it. You know what I mean?
I was always told, man, the game is to be sold, not told, right? So I hand pick and I do a lot of grassroots, even yourself. Like I take people under my wing that I feel are teachable, that I can help. But for the most part, man, as a people, we be scared to give away information. We think if we tell the right hand what the left hand doing, it takes us out.
Exactly.
No, man. You have to give the information out, whether it's to my, my kids, my peers, or people that I mentor. Like you have to give the information out. That's the only real asset that we have, man, is our information.
Got you. I guess the one question that I would have, and I think I've always had this question, but never really asked, or maybe I asked in different ways, but the question that I've always had for you was, where do you see yourself, after everything's all said and done, as far as like the barbershop? And I mean, do
Oh,
you
that's easy, man. I got 3 more years. I'm retiring from cutting hair at 40, and I got a lovely position at the American School of the Deaf waiting me with a, 6-figure salary, man. We've already talked this into existence. We're working towards it. I'm gonna go get a regular job with benefits, and that's how we gonna end this joint, man.
that's not how you end an
Man,
entrepreneurship.
yes,
Like,
it is because
come
I go
on.
in there with leverage. I don't need this job. I want it because I've been a businessman my whole life. I haven't had a paycheck in 20 years. I got 5 kids. I got bills. I want to be comfortable where I know I got to get up. I got this objective and I'm done. When you wake up as an entrepreneur, the objectives aren't this. It's like multiple. You
Oh,
have to handle a lot of things. So I just want to wake up and go work for the people, man.
I hear you. I hear you. I mean, do you have anything else that you want to share with the people? Because I feel like we've hit multiple different things. Actually, this might be a good thing to kind of end off with. But now that 2020 is over, and
Mhm.
like I said, it was a reflection year. What do you think 2021 should be to, like I said, those businesses or those entrepreneurs that need that next step? Like, do you see branding? Do you see, I mean, because I feel like branding should have been something that we should have already been putting together
I
at
mean,
this point. Like, how do you hit the next level, you
the
think?
next level is going to have, in every city and state, what's going to have to happen is we're going to have to we're going to have to create some type of foundation. And this is a perfect platform. We get all of our local Black business owners and Black businesses in one book on one website, and we work and deal off each other. We're not all independent contractors. We're in this together. So Jaws Barbershop will offer haircuts for, Carla's daycare. Like we have to do a passport concept between all these Black businesses, and we have to move as a unit. Because even though we are all entrepreneurs, we need to work together, and that's where we lack, man. We talk and deal with each other, but our businesses do not, move together as a uniform, man. And that's what all these corporations do. They have underlining agreements with each other that we don't see, but they have agreements and contracts where they will do this or they won't do that to step on each other's toes, and they help each other, and we need to do that. We got to
Absolutely.
create a network of all of our Black business owners where we're sitting down doing something like this with multiple Black business owners, and we're collaborating towards a bigger future for the youth.
Absolutely. And I guess one question did come in. Basically, are you looking into investing into other businesses right now?
I mean, I started a management company in the midst of the pandemic in March. I started 600 Forks Management, and basically I use all my resources. And if the client has something that I can help, the motto is we all eating. It's 600 Forks. We all eating. You eat, I eat. So I'm gonna help you be the best you can be using my resources. And if it hits at the end, we make money and we eat together. So I mean, the next thing, I'm just really getting into the crypto and the stocks, and that's
There
the
you
future,
go.
man.
That's
I
the
mean, we could work all we want with our body, man. You got these devices, man. You could just make good business decisions on business analysis and stats, and make money. So the future is stocks and crypto, and I mean, that's my next. Those are my investments that are coming up.
Well, that's what's up, and I appreciate your time. It's always a pleasure to talk to you. I know that, sometimes, we put ourselves in situations where we can't be in contact all the time, but I always know when I, pick up the phone, it always ends up in the same place, man.
It's always productive. It's always love. I mean, we chop it up about BS, but anytime I see your number on my phone, I know it's something, man. It's same. I mean, whether we laughing, talking, brainstorming, is never a dull moment.
Absolutely, man. And like I said, man, it's Jaws Barbershop. You can follow him on Instagram. It's like I said, it's always a pleasure talking to you. But at the same time, for everybody, just who tuned in live for this, I mean, super appreciative. Follow BBI and just move forward. You know what I mean? We have to move forward as a people, and this is how we're doing.
Constant elevation, man. Constant elevation.
That's
Be
exactly
better than yesterday, man, and look forward to tomorrow.
Absolutely. Well, thanks, man. I appreciate you. And tune in to the next Black Dollar Saturday. It's going to be March. It's the third, the third Saturday in March. We got some more speakers coming. We want to keep it as live, as raw as possible. These are why we're reaching out to the speakers that we're reaching out to, because this is how we're going to learn, people. So I appreciate everybody. And again, thanks, Ian, man. I really appreciate it.
Always love, bro. Stay up.
All right, guys.